스피카 선수가 이제 TSM에서 제일 오더도 많고 제일 중심적인 선수라 생각해서 제가 정글 싸움에서만 안 밀리면 충분히 이길 것 같아요.
Welcome back to the LCS for our fourth game of the day. It's Team Soul Mid on one side. TSM, oh my God, that was like a 5-year-old's earworm. That just, they're not Team Soul Mid anymore. But that was the old LCS dash there, creeping back in for a moment. That's what we all affectionately know them as. TSM versus Dignitas. And if you couldn't have guessed by that bump in, we're going to the jungle first and foremost. River versus Spica. We've talked a bit about Jat at top of day, how Spica has been that surprising player for you, but in the not so positive of ways, but very much so would look to him in this jungle matchup to find some control and give, you know, that stabilizing force to TSM.
Yeah, if you looked at these stats, you would never think that he's the reigning MVP of the league, and this is kind of what we talked about during the pre-show, how it was very surprising to me the way that TSM has started this season so poorly. And one stat that I do think is interesting is you look at the team jungle proximity.
I was going to say the same thing.
So some of this is because Huni played multiple Smite top games and was just near him a lot, which is going to increase it like a couple percentages, but not that much. And to me, that makes me feel like Spica is pressing a lot. Because I think back of the Spica in 2021, even the Spica that found success in 2020, and he was actually very efficient, right? He'd get strong himself, and then he had great mechanics, and he'd win team fights. But he's just not getting strong in these games, and he's then not able to make plays.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. I did a blame game recently. It wasn't during this time period where he was just hovering bot a lot because bot was under a lot of pressure. And he's like, do I need to protect this team right now? And I think that puts a lot of pressure on a jungler who, like you're saying, wants to be more efficiency-minded, wants to go stop in lanes to find kills and not hover around lanes, just protecting them.
And by contrast, I do want to talk a little bit about River because we joke a lot about Jarvan 4 and what that allows him to do. And these set bot plays around the strength of Dignitas' bot lane, I actually do think that this is kind of the best way for Dignitas to play. I think that is their strongest lane. But when we're looking at River's impact, there's definitely a big difference when he's not on not on that champion and when he is. And I don't know if that's like they haven't evolved that much in terms of their communication, because I do think that he is a really good jungler that has a good sense of where to be and when, especially around those bot side plays.
Now, he's shown us a little bit more flexibility beyond those initial weeks of the J4 with things like the Poppy, Hecarim coming back in, but still definitely wanting a bit more out of him.
Yeah, and one distinction I do want to follow up with that is that it's not like the pick itself. It's not like he's only good on this pick, right? Like, I mean, I think it was last week when Jet, like, stealthily looked up as I was talking about it, like, how many champions he played last year in
And it was
TCS.
a lot. It's not like he's historically a player who plays a small champion.
Yeah, exactly. So it just tells me that this is the best way for him to be able to communicate through the game itself in terms of how to play. And that I do like, again, like if I think there's been one shining thing about River on Dignitas and the way he's played with the team is that he's recognized that they have a very strong bot lane that they can play through and create set plays around it.
I think that's also, like, the pressure is on him a lot of the times to force fights and find engages, even outside the early game where you talk a lot about Jarvan's strengths. He's actually a great team fighter, and so when your bot lane is on more lane-dominant things like enchanters, and then your top lane is often behind, he often is the one who has to play frontline and engage, which J4 is one of the best at and most straightforward.
And ultimately, to me, what that says is just means that Dignitas has found their style, their way of playing the game. If we flip over to the other side for TSM, yes, there's only 2 victories for us to work with here, Jat. But the most recent one coming off the back end of another roster move with Takeover coming into the mid lane. And he played a big part in that victory.
I mean, this doesn't seem like it was their plan from the start of the split, but what I will say is him coming in happened in parallel with a pretty big shift in their approach to the game. I thought they were playing way more aggressively. They ended up playing through Takeover, partially because they picked very early game centric, like jungle mid picks. The first game was Rek'Sai Ahri that they played with him, and then the next game they did Sylas and Zhao. So they picked incredibly strong 2v2s around Takeover. Trying to get him ahead, I think it's an argument about whether they're trying to get him ahead or whether they're trying to get Spica ahead. I think it's more about just getting a strong 2v2 so Spica can go where he wants. But it has worked way better than what was happening before.
And I think it's really interesting because sometimes we talk about when a player comes up from academy, it's like, oh, you want to put them on something they're comfortable with. And, you know, if we look at his academy games, it's Ahri, it's Akali, it's the Silas, it's, you know, stuff that he can really make plays on. And I find it super interesting that as soon as he comes up, they've played around him really, really well.
I think also to throw in with that, Kaido was spamming Victor Corki, which is the exact antithesis of what you guys are talking about. And I think that is one of the areas that spilled over where you felt like Spica was on defense a lot, covering a mid lane that was pushed in a lot of the times. And in these drafts, there's so much more early game oriented, there's so much more pushing oriented. It gives Spica the choice of where he wants to go versus feeling like he's being called everywhere.
The TSM Golden Guardians game was the kind of typical 3 lanes of prio.
Yeah.
I think that's partially the type of team comp you do when you're struggling as a team, because this gives you the maximum amount of options and you don't necessarily have a fallback pattern. But honestly, if you're getting blown out every game, this is actually the way I want to see a team to play, because it then gives them a chance to win. And we have, I think, a bunch of stats of TSM's early game from last week versus the whole year that I want to pull up.
Yeah, I really wanted to take a look at these. Here we go. Okay, the thing that is really interesting to me here is the first blood percentage in terms of how well they're playing. I believe we also have a statistic that goes lane by lane for forward percentage. And when that comes up, I really want people to pay attention to the mid lane, because in weeks 1 and 4, with Kaido, they had a 17.9% forward percentage at 14, as opposed to 30.2 in week 5. And that just, it's not like, oh man, Takeover's coming in and he's insane. It's that they seem to have much better idea of how they want to play around him, and they're finally playing around mid and picking early.
And the top one, to be clear, is also one of those roaming support top games thrown in there from Huni when they play it like 3 times in a row. You get higher 4% there because you're kind of invading and getting wars.
You're in other lanes.
Yeah, you're not laning, you're just running with your jungler into the enemy jungle. So that was hyper inflated a little bit there by that. So it is a case where you have more control around bot and mid. And we've seen how important controlling dragons are. You're talking about the top of the day. When your bot lane is perma pushed in and you're just constantly sacking dragon prio, it's pretty hard to find mid to late game fights that feel good because you're just so desperate every time to stop them from stacking soul on you.
To try and bring all of that full circle back to your point around composition, right? Because off camera, we were also having a separate conversation about what is maybe the best setup for a team comp. You don't believe that 3 pushing lanes ultimately is the best way to play League, but for a team that is struggling to the degree in which TSM is currently, you may as well start on the right foot, have a shot at victory. Later down the line, you can refine the strategy.
Yeah, the oversimplified theory there is, like, champions have strengths and weaknesses. So usually if you are stronger early or better in lane, there's going to be some penalty later on in the game, like your scaling isn't going to be as good.
Right.
And you can't play through all 3 lanes. So if you're going 3 pushing lanes, usually you're heavily punished by scaling. So like the sweet spot is 2 winning lanes and okay scaling, because then you still have a lot of early game options. But like, it's definitely a strategy where the other team is going to feel like they have no options, and you have all the options in the world, so it allows you to be able to be more versatile in the early game.
Right, so for clarity's sake, we don't hate the approach that TSM is currently taking.
And the final thing is, there's also a jungler as a resource, and 3 winning lanes, sometimes winning lanes want the jungler to protect them, and if they're on opposite sides of the map, that becomes very difficult. And so in that theory where you're talking about one of your lanes shouldn't want to push, that frees them up to play more defensively so the jungler can go to one of these other lanes.
All right, I'm being told that both teams are ready to dive into Champion Select, so with that, we're going to hand it back over to Phreak and Azael for the call.
Thank you very much, and welcome back. This is going to be a fun one. I actually have pretty high hopes for both teams actually right now. So TSM, as far as I can figure it, they basically have to go at least 4-3 to have a shot at playoffs. They would be at 6 wins. That's probably still not enough, but like, if you want playoffs as a TSM fan, you must have a win record from here. Now that said, I liked how TSM looked last week. On the other hand, I actually kind of liked how Dignitas looked last week. Felt like they bounced back a bit from before. They slotted a win against 100 Thieves of all teams, so like, you know, they can play to a high level.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I also really enjoyed the discussion on the desk, because that always gets me thinking about it's like, you know, how do you want to play the game? Do you index towards early game and hope that you can kind of utilize this early game power if you have a lot of mistakes later and utilize that lead to just crush an opponent? Or do you kind of index towards hyper late game and hope your opponents maybe make a mistake if you're not a really clean team? Because TSM, on one hand, they kind of went towards early game last week and got their second win, but their first win was Enchanter support, all eggs in the tactical basket, way behind all game, find that one team fight. and then they came out on top. So gonna be interesting to see what their look is this week against Dignitas, who I think started off pretty hot. You know, a lot of people are very, very excited about River, particularly on Jarvan. You know, he has played a lot of champions at this point, but I think, you know, Jarvan is really what people were looking at him shining on, and ever since then hasn't really been getting much of a chance to play it. This time it is unbanned though, so unless TSM want to first pick it, you know, we might get to see River back on his kind of iconic pick.
It would be Spica's second Jarvan of the year if he goes for it. Again, seems pretty unlikely. So yeah, go ahead and go for your signature, whatever you want to go for. That's fine.
I think they probably just go Jinx, right? Like if you don't grab Jinx, it feels like people have such a high priority on this pick.
Yeah.
That I feel like you're giving away a lot to first pick J4.
Zeri is up, so if they're happy to trade carries back and forth, and TSM going for another, I would say, lane dominant champion, Ahri is very, very good early game. We've seen one Ahri on blue and one on Takeover.
Takeover played it last week. I did have a pretty good game. Was in a loss, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see where Dignitas wants to go here. As you said, Zeri is up. Zeri has been nerfed, so not quite as powerful as before. Kind of more evened out between the Triforce build and some of the crit builds. Obviously, kind of trying to push people more towards traditional marksman builds instead of the kind of like more tanky style bruiser builds that she was going. And it is going to be Caitlyn as well as J4. So a lot of power picks really left up this game, and teams kind of having their pick of the litter. It's not the Jinx, it's not the Zeri, it is Caitlyn, J4. I do think this sets up Dignitas for quite a bit of success. They have the ability to even go towards Caitlyn Lux or grab a Karma on the way around if that is still up. Can of course go for a more traditional engage support route, but when you're playing with Jarvan, I don't think that you necessarily need it. And that's one of the things I think is so big about bringing this jungler in particular for River, is it allows Biofrost to play Enchanters, allows Biofrost to play other things, and I think have success with that because he has, even in the past, been really good at some of those non-traditional kind of supports.
Yeah, of course. I think there's a wealth of really, really good enchanted supports out there that are very strong, that can be dominant, as long as you can cover the all-in game plan, right? As long as you're not getting bursted or someone else can start the team fight out. I think there's a gold mine down there, basically. I do want to say one thing about Zeri, which is the most recent set of nerfs, the big ones that pushed her off Triforce, those were in the hotfix patch. So again, unless we're on 12.5b, which I believe we are not until next week, it is still like pre-nerf Zeri. So a little surprised to not see her picked so far, but again, unless the maker patch actually is in. But
it is not. It's going to be in next week.
Okay, so I am right.
12.5.
So it's not buffed Lucian. It is not nerfed Locket. It is not nerfed Zeri. So all those things are still up. And yeah, I think I'm surprised to see her not played.
Yep, but it's one of those things that sometimes people are scrimming, on that next patch, or scrimming, kind of getting used to that, or playing solo queue, and their priorities have kind of changed. It is the Leona ban here, kind of aimed towards Shenyi, who has been playing, I would say, much more the engaged style. He does have the one Yuumi game, but he has a couple of Rel games. He has Rakan, he has the Leona. Will they focus towards another marksman, or are they just going to say, well, Jinx is up, Aphelios is up, Jhin is up, Zeri is up, like, we don't really care. You could allow them to really go wherever they want and just throw another ban towards support if that is the idea. Maybe ban out another engage, like something like along the lines of the Nautilus even, which I think is another kind of comfort pick for TSM, something that Yursong was playing a lot with them.
True. Yeah, I'm curious to see what comes out of this one. I know Rel is good into the tank supports, not so good into the enchanters. Hard engage tends to work pretty well into enchanters, though Lux, especially if you want to run something like barrier or an exhaust, or not barrier, but a guardian and an exhaust, you can kind of hold on to that sometimes. So we'll see what the look ends up being. But yeah, it feels like there's two looks. Like, we have actually a couple of Yuumis from Shenyi, and I think Yuumi is pretty strong.
But TSM doesn't really have any primary engage, right? And they've already drafted their top side. So, like, I think you need an engage support, and that's why I kind of like the Nautilus ban. They could go towards the Rel. That is something that Shenyi has played a couple times, but a lot of people not really preferring the Rel these days, thinking he's just kind of not as strong. So it is something that you can punish in that way. He could look towards the Rakan, but then you have a pretty weak laner against what is a really powerful laning duo. You can go Ezreal Karma or something, which can get the push against Caitlyn and Lux if you really want to fight it out in the 2v2. I think that can be powerful for the 2v2, but then you have to look at your team comp and say, well, how do we kind of play out the rest of the game? Because they'd have no engage, and that is something that they'd have to be pretty comfortable playing with advantages in lane, right? Because I think if you play without engage, you must win your lanes, show up towards objective first, and have them fight into you. So we'll see where TSM wants to go with the bot lane.
Karma Jhin could do it in terms of you've got
some. Just go Jinx Thresh. I mean, there's so many options. Like everything is available because there was Karma was already banned out. Excuse me. But
you're right.
There's no marksman banned in this game, right? So you can really go a lot of different directions, and Jinx Thresh, obviously one of the most meta duos that you can go. Again, not really powerful primary engage. It's more of a pick champ than I would call it engage champ.
Oh, yeah.
If you're playing out of fog, sure, that's great. But I do think there's going to be some pressure on them to make something happen in the laning phase. I do think they have a really strong 2v2 if you're looking towards mid lane against pretty much anything. Ahri plus Volibear, really strong lockdown. The Volibear is definitely going to be beating out the Jarvan in the 1v1 in the skirmishes. So if they can have a good performance from Tactical and Shenyi on that bot side, they can get pressure, get advantages there, play towards the objectives. It's going to be double AP soul lanes here. So Akali as well as the Gwen, more of the scaling options. I think TSM has pushing lanes in both their solo lanes.
Yep.
Bot, you expect them to get pushed in, but Thresh plus Volibear, there is the potential to try to punish this if you can actually, deny some vision and not have them track that Volibear very well. But I'm really interested to see where River wants to go because, yes, there is the potential to try to gank some of those pushing lanes, but also Akali and Gwen pre-6 do not have great gank assist whatsoever.
They do not. We'll see what happens, though. We got a game coming up. TSM versus Dignitas. Let's see it. The hunt for playoffs is on. There are 3 weeks left of the LCS. TSM in 10th, Dignitas in a bit of a soup, to be honest, towards the middle of the pack, either team. I mean, TSM does have their fate in their hands, but it's likely got to be something like a 5-2 or 6-1 run to have a high shot at playoffs.
I mean, it's funny because there are some super dominant teams, right, with TL and C9, so that's what's maybe pushing down the records of the 6th place team. Say, hey, you could maybe get in there with a lower place record. We've even had teams miss at 9-9.
Yeah, we have.
Like, that has happened. Usually 8 wins gets you in. That is usually the 6th place mark is 8 and 10. But, even if you're looking towards that,
6-1 is the requirement.
6-1, like that is a lot to ask here from TSM that has been struggling. I think it's a real long shot. Yes, it's not mathematically eliminated or anything like that, but TSM would have to go on a tear to be able to actually make it into playoffs. Going to be the sweeper start here. We'll clear this out. They're going to give the XP to Takeover. Oh, excuse me. Tactical actually took it. That was kind of weird.
Well, as long as you're in range, you get XP. I'm not sure. Yeah,
I'm gonna click on him. He did get.
Okay, he got XP. Cool. Okay, so he's in the range to get the XP as long as you're sharing it.
It just made me nervous that he hit it too early.
Oh, of course, right? Yeah. As long as it's not all 5 players, a share of a ward gets you level 2 off of the entire first wave. As long as the sweeper doesn't last hit it, you earn 20 gold for the ward. Okay, great. T's crossed, I's dotted, SM added to the name afterwards.
Yep. So that is a very. Oh my god, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
I shouldn't have even acknowledged it. It is going to be Comet for Biofrost as well as Spell Thief. So he is going the very aggressive setup here. So if TSM can set up a gank, can actually get onto this guy, Lantern Flash Flay, you can look for kills because it is not Relic Shield, it is not Guardian. He is playing the very squishy setup, but it does mean if you lose the push, you are going to get harassed, you are going to be getting poked, and that can be dangerous. But utilizing the Rockets here, level 1, to try to get that shove.
Tactical with a very early Trinket Ward down. We know, of course, Jarvan can do the level 2 gank, so we shove the very first wave. We can drop in for the ward early, and then you don't have to worry about it afterwards. A Flay, but no one else is in range on the luck, so it's just damage on Tactical.
Hits.
Yeah, the Q hits, so Neo's just on the chase down Longsword, and he's just still going for more. Somebody he'll finally burn. Yes, gets a bad trade on the backside, but 7 downs mean a burst is possible because guess what? Ignite Comet. Ready to go for more.
And that's 2 potions already chugged there by Tactical. We'll see how healthy he does look after this because he was Longsword 3-pot. So I'm expecting he'll be able to get back to pretty much 2 full health. But nice trading there by Neo. Hits the Peacemaker, just trains him down with those autos. River doing a fast level 3. Went Red Raptor straight over towards Grom. Or excuse me, maybe he's on the blue. I can't quite tell.
I think it's Grom. I think he's maybe double camping.
But Spica's already down here, so they could look for it. Flash Play Lantern.
Like, get away from the. Oh, that was a good flash by Neo to get away. The bind was there for Biofrost. Absolutely beautiful. The best attempt they could have had, but it was still outplayed.
Oh, and now no flash on Shenyi. So if this wave bounces, River is sneaking down. He's just walking into the brush right now. Oh, they don't have any idea that he's here yet. So Shenyi walks forward, he's going to die. But I think TSM has the read that he could be here.
Flay matters. So Flay matters a lot. Shenyi, if his reflexes are there, can always Flay out of the Jarvan knockup, and if he does it, he's fine. But of course, he has to play the right amount forward. Yeah, they're not going to straight dive the tower. No way. He might get to just kind of get his health back up, no problem.
Yep.
Of course, the poke now. Here's the part where the lane actually matters. Like, they got a nice early chunk. That's not expected. This is now the expected lane where you're like, hey, by the way, any recall you take, you're losing the whole wave.
Yep. And that's looking exactly what it's going to be because all those potions are down. They can actually look for a 3-man dive here on Shenyi. River has invested a tremendous amount of time, and Spica's actually coming back down. If Spica gets here, he did just spend his spells, though, on the wave and is spotted, so they're not going to be able to look for any sort of a dive with Spica around.
Yeah.
This means Spica's way ahead. Like, he has 16 farm, right? You know, they already took the bot side scuttle. Now they're going to know that top side scuttle should still be up when they see how much farm he has. So Spica is going to be way up, and River investing a lot of time normally gets a lot out of that, but TSM bot lane played with respect to the fact that he could be around, even though they never actually spotted him.
Oh.
And as a result, they are looking pretty
way,
good.
Oh,
No
this
flash
is gonna
on
look
Neo.
like a good hook, a good flay. Spica can try. They're going to bring in Tactical. The root is there. The slows are going to land. Slows don't stack. Sidesteps, but it's not going to be enough. Down he goes. First blood goes to Tactical as they push the wave in. TSM are there for the kill.
That is so big because now the wave is actually frozen against them as well. Dignitas had a great 2v2, but Spica down bot twice here, impacting this lane massively, bailing out Tactical, who honestly was in a terrible spot early on here, was way down farm, got pushed out of lane early, got forced to use that heal. But now, with the wave frozen against Neo and Neo flashless, Tactical getting first blood gifted to him from Spica, TSM all of a sudden in a great spot here early on.
Big by Huni, actually. Of course, he had a trinket ward in the river, so he saw the man walk back up, but Scribes with him goes, yep, he's still there. Okay, we can watch if he leaves or recalls or goes somewhere else. Cool, go back to my lane. And this is a
This sucks for Neo.
600 goal lead to TSM. So they are up exactly the value of the first blood plus assist. Lanings, on average, going equal right now.
Yep, and here it is one more time. They had no wards there in the river, no vision of this. Neo does about as well as he can. I mean, he gets hit by the zap, but he sidesteps the hook, but the chompers are thrown behind him. There's just no real way out, even with Biofrost actually hitting the binding. Spica played that intelligently. You notice how he actually saved his Q till after the binding was used, because if you pop your Q there and then get bound on it, it's going to expire, not going to be able to land that stun, even as the follow-up. So, correct ordering of spells there from Spica. But 2 early ganks to that bot side, really impacting it where they needed that help, because Caitlyn Lux can run away with a game if you let them. And it was looking like it was heading that direction in the 2v2.
Thankfully for Dignitas right now, the lane I think is still in their favor. The recall, which is much better. It's Noon Quiver versus Longsword Cull. So yes, you probably have more gold this game, but it's not been spent. It's in your pockets, not in your items, hasn't been cashed out.
Coming over there? I don't know if Shenyi actually spotted River or not. That would be close, because River came over on the blast cone. Shenyi was right around Tribrush. I don't know if he stepped forward enough.
Random steal? I mean, it's theoretically possible. Nah, he's gonna time it pretty well, but Spica knocked up.
Ward?
They're gonna, no, they don't get the ward down time. He'd already right-clicked it, and it simply got to take the Lantern after he was un-CC'd. The flash bind is in. They know he's flashless, and that is gonna be Akali earning money. Blue is in the green? Yeah, he's got gold.
That's true. He does have gold.
What a call!
Beautiful stuff there.
In the black, I think, when you have a profit.
One of the best calls of your career.
You know, it's up there with Wonderful Team.
It is up there with Wonderful Team, which is one of my favorite calls ever. I think that was hilarious. Wonderful Team and Quadra-Kill. This didn't go in there with those.
Ooh. Hey, Quadra-Kill at least like gets repeated as like a positive.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It was a fun one.
Yeah.
All right, well, Dignitas pushing on this bottom side. Tactical out of pot, so any poke on him does matter here a lot. Steps on the trap, but not feeling confident to move forward, as again, Spica is in the area, has been hovering this bot side constantly. Quietly, Huni has created a CS lead for himself. I'm curious to see how much of that actually gets equalized on this pushing wave from FakeGod. TSM did have small CS advantages in both of those solo lanes, kind of as expected. Top lane, obviously, a much bigger lead, as FakeGod has been having a rough season. He has been struggling, I think, and this is one of the areas that I think a lot of people are pointing to on Dignitas that needs to improve, right? You've got to be able to step up and have a bigger contribution. A lot of people were critical of him for his Malphite game in particular, but he has had some good ones for Dignitas as well, earlier on, and when you look back towards lock-in. So I need to have him kind of step up and have a more solid performance. because Dignitas has been really kind of falling down over these last couple weeks. Last week they did have a bit of a resurgence, but has been a bit of a rough run for this squad.
So what's next for us? Well, that same gold difference has remained, despite Dignitas getting a kill back with a nice assassination as Blue knocked down Shenyi. It is still better farming as TSM hold the lead so far. Blue buff to be handed off, no problem to Takeover. Just walks over, kind of, throwing a couple of sets of spells. Spica, of course, wants to pull it to the left so he can get closer to Gromp to keep his farm going. Makes Takeover run a bit farther to get there, but ultimately everyone's efficiency matters, and off he goes to the blast plant. Gonna collect all of, if not, yeah, pretty much all of the wave. I think he dropped maybe a melee minion, which is worth it.
Yep, not a big deal there whatsoever. Grabs his blue. Very defensive early build here, just rushing towards the Merc Treads. I think paying respect to the fact not only that its lane opponent does magic damage, but also it's Caitlyn Lux. If you ever get hit by the binding, you can get CC'd up very, very heavily. The follow-up there can be pretty rough from the Dignitas side. But Huni just having the push, looking like he's just going shield bow rush, so not going to be going towards that hull breaker any longer. And I'm interested to see if he actually goes lethality after this, or if it is just going to be the shield bow into BT, which was a really popular build in the past. There's a lot of different permutations that you can go on Graves. Some of the more defensive options, some more kind of that drain tank build, which can be really, really powerful scrapping against champions like the Gwen, especially when it's not an Ignite Gwen, right? That lifesteal becomes very difficult to deal with. Someone who's already behind, it feels pretty rough to even go in towards heel cut. You don't want to have to build Umbrellas. You can go for an Oblivion Orb, but even then, you're wave down already.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now the mid laner's trading blows back and forth, but it's been a pretty close one between these two. It is a Conqueror Akali going for the longer duration version, right? Stacking up over time, and hoping that's going to work out for him. But on the way towards what I believe to be a Rocket Belt based on build path.
Spica was spotted on that ward in the top left of the screen, so they have an idea that he is around here, and River is hovering once again. And River has actually gotten ahead in experience, despite the fact that he spent a lot of time towards bot side, got nothing done early, with Spica actually making more of those return trips to try to help out this bot lane, especially after Tactical got pushed down. So River trying to get something done down here, but hasn't really been able to find the angle, and
I like it.
TSM is way too healthy, so it's just going to be the clearing of the wards, drop the pink, try to poke out on Tactical, and they do get him very low.
That bind would have been a kill, by the way. You let Biofrost hold the tower aggro, you drop the trap down, Neo autos twice, the man dies, and you can't even flash away. You're always going to take all that damage, so well done to get away from that one. That would have been crucial. We're going to try now for the first big all in the mid lane. Takeover, front of the ult, he gets away. Shuriken will not land. Spica unknown in that brush right now. No one saw him go. That charm maybe could have looked for an option. Ultimately, River's going to be back on his side of the map.
Yeah, I think if the charm lands, Spica maybe ults over the wall, try to go for something a little bit aggressive, but not going to happen. Still, great 2v2 happening here from Neo and Biofrost. 4 plates here without really too much jungle interference. Yeah, River has spent a lot of time over here, but he hasn't really accomplished much besides clearing out a bit of vision. They're going to try to trade for this on the top side, though, taking down that Herald, playing through their strength in that Graves. Spica will be able to grab this, no problem. And we'll see if it is actually going to be dropped topside to try to put that into Huni, really keep him ahead of FakeGod, because eventually, if FakeGod is just kind of keeping this CS deficit around the same, he will outscale the Graves. So you really want to try to accelerate the Graves, keep him ahead in this matchup, and put him into a winning position, because I think it's also easy to go into some MR second item and have a super efficient side lane build. It's double AP soul laners on Dignitas. If you went, yeah, exactly. If you go Moss second, like who can ever match you in side lane?
You actually can't Ma with shield bow. That's actually the one build you can't go for. I had the same thought. I literally said Ma, right? So like, I had the same thought.
Absolute brain fart. Yeah.
But yeah, he's not going with
towards some sort of MR.
Go Merc Treads.
Yeah, or like you can go QSS. It's Ahri plus Spica plus Shenyi. You can go Merc Treads. Even just a little bit of MR there can be quite effective.
Yeah.
But likely going to be probably like the BT build is my kind of expected path.
Absolutely. You do want some flat. I agree, though. It'd be nice to get some somewhere. So we'll see. Keep in mind, Gwen does a lot of % health damage, so MR is uniquely, I mean, so is Lifesteal and Shields. They don't amp her damage either, but yeah, health is slightly less good against her as a result, since that's a pretty decent portion of her damage budget. But we still have a minute and a half left until plates drop. Dignitas trying to find their 5th down here. So as much as Huni is crushing the top side, and yeah, he's up 22 CS, you've got a very similar lead here for Neo and Biofrost, and that's with 2 successful ganks from TSM. Burning Summoners were getting kills. So at least holding on right now is FakeGod, but as Spica's up here with the Herald, that will guarantee the turret kills.
Yep, the Herald is going to get that. And yeah, the 2v2 has been going the way of Dignitas, but because Spica really bailed Tactical out and got him that first blood, he's actually up in gold. He was at least previous to this. Now with the tower going down, I do think we're going to see Caitlyn up. but it was actually an advantage, for Tactical even just about 30-40 seconds ago. So, the Jinx is not pushed out of this game whatsoever, and generally speaking, the Jinx is considered much better scaler. Nicely played there by FakeGod, getting behind to proc the eye as it charged in.
And now Biofrost knows that, hey, the top jungle belongs to them. I'm scared of this one. Chucks the first brush and then goes, okay, sweep for what's down here. Okay. Aggressive control ward, got it. So able to actually get the vision back at the very least, but now Dignitas gonna move their winning duo lane elsewhere. All right, we finished bot turret. We got Gale Force, we're on boots 2. Okay, Caitlyn's a power spike. All right, let's find something else to do. First Dragon was already claimed a minute ago, so what else can we do? Well, let's play top side. Let's find that tower to kill, because we're not pushing bot tier 2. Not gonna stay mid yet. We want to knock turrets down.
Yep, that's really it's pretty much standard stuff, I think, with the Caitlyn. Just try to move around the map, extend the gold lead as much as you can. You want to keep up that pace, knocking down all these outers very, very quickly if possible. And you can see Huni completed shield bow. BT is going to be the next option, very, very likely here. Has the BF sword, has a long sword for the Vamp Scepter. So going to be going for that kind of drain tank style. And we'll see if he wants to just continue playing heavily through sides, as quite ahead of FakeGod here, who does not have a mythic completed just yet, but obviously spent that gold on the early tabbies, on those tier 2 boots, and the additional Doran's item as well.
And you read about Bloodthirster, of course, in that build path, as, FakeGod tries to catch up with his Leeching Leer into Riftmaker. We are seeing AP Lux, which is fun, so I'm expecting Ludens. If you're gonna go like
Crown.
Really?
Yeah, I think Lux support is like Crown almost 100% of the time.
Okay.
Just because they are so squishy that I think it's one of those things where it's like, if I ever face check, you kind of need it.
one-shot
right?
me, yeah.
Exactly. Like you get one shot by anything if you face check. So I do think, like Ludens, it could be maybe defensible if you're having someone else check for you, but I think Crown makes a lot more sense as far as the consistency, right?
I feel you. All right, well, Huni going to be attacked here. Blue is on the case. Of course, no MR yet in the build, but
just don't hurt him.
How hard that trade was. Yeah, Huni, shield bow never even popped. He's got plenty of AD, feeling good. We are not on Mythic yet for the Akali, so definitely down on items. Thank you, turret plates. Thank you, gold, and that means, that matters a whole lot. Mid lane under some fire, though. 50 minutes in, mid is at 40%.
And if you're not massively ahead of the Graves, you just don't kill Graves without heal cut. Like, he heals so much with just the E auto reset into another auto. Like, it's actually ridiculous the amount of self-healing this guy has. Plus, he even has Fleet on top, so the amount of sustain that he has, a non-mythic completed Akali is not going to threaten you unless there is an overwhelming amount of damage there to back her up.
For sure. So items keep stacking up there. Bot lane pushed in, and thankfully for FakeGod, he's actually able to just kind of sit there and take the farm. Yeah, he's got no pressure, sure, but until a minute and a half ticks down, doesn't really need to get a lot done out of this lane and can just knock these down, keep his farm going up. He's going to sit there, still down 23 against Graves, but he isn't bleeding out a turret anymore, and now we get to see if Dignitas can push in mid, because we saw their turret go low. They're going to try themselves.
He should have his Mythic now, and does actually complete it. So, Gwen with Mythic is really a completely different champion. Like, when you complete that, there is the possibility that you can look for some sort of a fight in the side lane, in an extended lane with the Ghost, can become quite powerful. Still likely going to need the Oblivion Orb, I think, especially, if Huni is getting closer to that BT with the amount of sustain that he does have. But as you said, Neo moving mid here, looking to pressure this tier 1 tower. But TSM has done a good job actually defending the rest of their outers. They lost that bot one, but they didn't lose top when Neo went there. And it looks like they're going to be in position to actually defend here mid as well. So it's going to be Dignitas more just trying to set up for a potential third dragon. But they are a long way from Soul.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be a bit. If they get this on cooldown, basically 17 and change means add 10 minutes. Sub 30 for a Soul is not horrible. Certainly you're like well into mid-game at that point, and a lot of the game is actually going to be played out, but that's kind of the pacing if they're doing it immaculately. Team groups up. Akali in top lane has teleport, so can join whenever. But the top lane's only going to be meeting at equilibrium, is not pushing towards the actual turret itself, so it's a walk down for Blue, who's going to save his teleport and try to join the team in time instead of playing for extra mini waves. The chance at playing a cross map, if the team wants to drop the dragon, they could simply get that done. But going to join the team in mid now. Look for the first bit of damage, a little bit of poke looking from Spica. Jinx is now started up, warmed up on the dragon. Takeover coming backwards, a bit of a slow. The dunk into the team. He's way out for Spica with the ulti, a stopwatch, and now they're going to find that first kill. Ahri knocks down the Gwen. It's already 1-0. Is there much else Dignitas can do? Because Takeover could go in for a little bit more. Blue, a little bit on vision, going to go into the Shroud, and now a smite fight going to be here. Rocket going to the side. There's Dragon number 2 for Dignitas. Now, is there a team fight? Looks like not. Out they go. -1 kill Dignitas, but plus the Dragon.
I think pretty good for Dignitas, all things considered. They even have the pushing wave in mid, so they can move over there, try to get a bit of damage down on this tower, if not just straight up kill it. And Blue even gonna catch Tactical!
Oh! Blew him up! Down he goes.
Somebody stop Phreak.
No, you can't. You don't have that call. It's not your power.
I could reach over and just press your mute button.
Speaking of, we're gonna press the death button here. Blue is trying to run away. He's gonna get some decent damage, but it's not gonna happen in the end. There's no way, right? Indeed goes down. Thank you, Spica, for the shutdown. Gold to the Volibear.
But they get the mid lane tower. They actually get the dragon. It's a 1-for-1 trade on that bottom side, so really nice from Dignitas. They may lose their tower here. We'll see if FakeGod can actually defend it or not. As soon as he's committed to it, it looks like he's going to be able to very likely finish this off, but will he get chased down?
Good Lantern. Honestly, Shenyi's in the right spot, and even though FakeGod had him pull aggro by kind of standing in front of him when the auto attacks, it dies fast enough to be fine. And of course, hey, look, Raptors, 119 health per auto. Yeah, we're good.
Yep. Nice try from Neo. He used the Farsight totem there to actually drop it on the Lantern, but not able to block that again. Here it is one more time. FakeGod trying to come in from the back. It was pretty well-timed flank, but he just gets absolutely bursted. TSM playing this out very, very well. Everyone collapses on the flanking member. They burst him down, but they are pretty lit up. And Spica can't really find his way in here, you know, through the Lucent Singularity zoning, through Blue, through the traps, everyone kind of zoning him out there. And then Blue just catches Tactical on the recall. Easy pickup kill for him. TSM, though, laying a trap. The Shroud is used for the energy regen just to clear that out. And as Blue walks in, I mean, he would have seen the E there. I'm a little bit surprised he kept walking forward.
I think the first half of E is invisible until the very end. Like, it's not, I don't believe it's instant tell. I might be wrong about that.
I thought you saw the charge up pretty quick, but maybe not if it's cast out of vision. That's one I'm not actually certain about. Either way, gets the kill, ends up going down. Having a pretty decent game for himself, though. 2 relatively early kills, has decent farm. Dignitas not in a bad spot, but the big concern is still Huni, who has the BT, who has a crit click on top, so I might just be going IE third, and he's going to be insanely strong at that point.
Tower to go to. Rocket belts for a bit of move speed, turns invisible for a moment, gets away from the slow, and keeps on going because Spica's Q timed out. Slow through forever, but they're not getting through 1.5 item Volibear, so goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, even if he hit that knockup, not really sure what it was going to do, because no one was there. I mean,
Akali,
Akali spent all the spells to run away, right? Like, there's not really much happening. The gold lead, though, in the top lane just seems to be growing and growing. 2,000 now in the lead for Huni, so FakeGod not really going to be able to get anything going anytime soon. Just trying to do his best to actually defend these towers, slow it down, try to scale up a bit. While Neo moves around the map, I mean, he has the farm advantage, and he is looking pretty good, but at this point, it's tough because it's like you can get in the face of the Gwen pretty aggressively, trade your health a little bit, and just heal up to full instantly off the next wave over and over and over.
And Spica's now here to say hi. Hey, anyone showing up for this one? Okay, well, your vision's all gone, so we're going to set the, pave the road so Shenyi and Takeover and I can show up. And that means, you've given up the turret. Oh, interesting. Okay, thanks for the gold on the Huni.
I like this. It is Shadowflame second there for Takeover, so it's not going to be the Zoni's build. I'm much more of a fan of Shadowflame. I just think it's so effective as a second item, extremely powerful, helping you to get these that damage threshold where you can potentially, zero out some of these squishy picks.
Yep.
People like the Caitlyn, like the Lux, but honestly, Gwen without Shroud, even Akali without Shroud, like, you can potentially 100-0 them with a full combo. So they've got to pay a lot of respect, and I think the more aggressive build makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, someone did the math on Shadowflame versus Void Staff way back when the item first came out. If you assume 20 flat pen, which is not always true, but there's a luck, so it's there, the break even in just burst damage versus Void Staff is about 60 MR. Right, no bonus MR on Akali, none on Gwen, none on Lux, none on Caitlyn. You're easily hitting that one.
Yeah.
You also have the upside of 300 health at 200 gold, which is absurdly efficient in Shadowflame's favor. So in terms of all-around gameplay, yeah, I think it's going to be overall doing more for you in this game.
And while the shielding component really is not that great, to be honest, Lux has AoE shielding, Jarvan has shielding. There is going to be some added benefit of that. It's really not why you buy the item.
No, it's a flat pen item, right? It's a burst item.
Exactly.
The shielding is kind of there, which feels weird. Whatever, we got to fight on our hands. The mid lane, Tactical zapped. Thankfully, the shot gets blocked as Locke comes through as well. Going to stay alive. Lantern to safety, Summoner heal down.
Didn't Blue hit his E? I thought he hit his E there. Could he not take it onto Tactical? Did I miss that?
I didn't see.
I'm not sure. I mean, look, I thought he had actually connected with Tactical, so I thought Tactical was going to be going down. Blue on the hunt, though, now. If Tactical face checks him, he's definitely going to be going down, but does get eyes on the Akali, and it's TSM looking like they're on the hunt. But meanwhile, Dignitas grabbing the dragon here. It's going to be the 3rd dragon for them. So moving up to Soul Point here, looking like they're not in too bad of a spot.
Yeah, but an important pick, right? Getting technical that low means there was no team fight, because, yeah, with TSM up 3,000, it's like, okay, they should own the map, they're ready to go, they can group up, and, ooh, not allowed to play with the Jinx. And so, map goes over, Dignitas able to keep Blue alive, he will safely farm out of the tower. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of damage, and they almost go for more. Rock Belt doesn't get into range. No kill to be had, but that is Biofrost putting us decent damage. Did in fact go Crown, of course. The flat AP, of course, buffs your shield, so he's not optimizing just for damage, and doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Lux has a lot of value if you can hit multiple members with those shields. He did go full E-Max, so it wasn't just a couple points in into that W-Max, as you see kind of more commonly. A lot of people do like to just go like 3 points E for lane and then start W-Max. He actually went full 5 points, so he's going to have a significant amount of damage. If he can hit the E plus ulti on a lot of these squishy targets, that can soften them up for potentially Blue or FakeGod to go in and really finish them off. So his damage is definitely not irrelevant in this one, and you know, had a pretty good laning phase, had that injection of gold from some of the plates and the towers and the early completion of that Spell Thieves. So we'll see what he can do with it.
We check back in on top lane. We have a second item here for FakeGod is on the Nashor's Tooth, so very auto-attack focused. Another option could easily be a Cosmic Drive. You just get more Qs, you can get more damage that way, it's more durable, but this one is all about, you know, training down one target as fast as possible. And, you know, who cares with durability, but we have a 40 CS difference in top lane that has been growing for Huni. He's been collecting more farm overall in this game. A fight over the red buff as TSM wants in. They're going to find a slow on a Biofrost. Crown is down, and here comes a team fight as River comes in, and River goes out, and Spica finds a stun. Neo's got to get away, finds the net, finds a flash, but they still want this fight. FakeGod is in for some damage, finds a little bit there. It's going to be Huni dropped low, gets the shield bow popped, out goes FakeGod. Everyone else stays alive. The zap going to miss. Actually, everyone great sidestep by TSM. 5v4 Baron.
Yeah, that's actually big. Now Takeover going in.
Well, they forced a flash to the Biofrost. That actually might have been a kill if it had landed. The Everfrost, the rocket. Not going to mean a ton, but here we go. 4v5. Dignitas must try to stop Baron.
But how?
No smite.
I mean, you have no smite. They can't go over the wall. They have no Lux ulti, so they've got to be able to try to find some sort of a fight. But Takeover is doing a great job zoning them out, and now Blue on the flank does have ult.
Are you willing to fight this one? It's 4v5, though. Baron's always going to go down. He jumps on in, takes the Shroud. Baron is down. FakeGod low. Blue going to be the same. And they're going to go for that front line damage. Can they kill Spica? Zhonya's pop. Blue is on the way out. Tries to run away, running for his life, and they find the shutdown on a Volibear. Caitlyn gets the gold. Blue is still on the way out. He's got to go down. You have to believe it's going to happen. Yes, indeed. A 1-for-1. So you got one of the Baron buffs off the map, and a shutdown onto Caitlyn.
Yeah, not bad for Neo, but overall, I mean, still, they killed River, they get the Baron, so they still go positive on that play for sure, and the Baron could lead to a lot more gold here. River just posturing very aggressively, but didn't have vision in there, didn't realize that there was more TSM members around. I think he thought it was just tactical, and Spica on a warding mission, lost track of where Shenyi was, nails the hook out of the brush. TSM collapse on the jungler, burst him down. FakeGod with a good bit of damage traded back there. Biofrost could not connect on the ulti to really soften them up and dissuade the Baron. They have Huni here, lifesteal tanking there with Spica. And as Dignitas go in, they try to find the flank here from Blue, but no one there to really follow up with him. The Lux ult isn't available, he's by himself, so very difficult for him to really get too much done. But as Spica goes forward towards Neo, good kiting back here, able to land the binding. And when you go into the zone, it doesn't do anything for you here against the Caitlyn, as the trap is always going to land. Has the headshot, as the Q, finishes him off, and then Blue, at the very least, did force the flash from Shenyi there to pick up that kill for Tactical.
Check back in, 4,000 gold lead plus the Baron buff. TSM, so to work back to that 1,500 mark as they knock down the bottom turret. That is money on Tactical and Huni, the double marksman. 1,500 now on the Red Bull Baron power play, but a cross map for FakeGod as he knocks down top outer maybe a little while ago, but shoves in the wave all the same, and the game remains relatively close, but a lot more for TSM to do. Their 4,800 gold lead feeling pretty good. Baron buff will be on,
flank. And
here's the play. Will it be enough? Ahri is still in mid, and they dive in on Tactical, shut him down right away. This is a 5v3. Takeovers in mid still. You've got to believe these kills come across. Shenyi getting low. Blue finds his second, goes in, and finally the mid laner is going to show up, but will it be enough? The snipe comes in and lands a bit more. Blue stealths, flashes the way, flash follow, jukes out, goes back in, and Blue is gonna conquer. 5 dead, no casualties. Dignitas back in the game.
Oh my God, Blue just broke Takeover's ankles on that play. The TP flank from the Akali cleaning up everyone in the Bud Light Ace here. We can watch it one more time. But on the other side, it's the pincer attack that actually gets Tactical so early that they made this fight look that easy, and it's the binding. The binding from Biofrost connects onto Tactical. He takes it back, but River goes straight in. EQ, ulti, FakeGod on top of him as well. They burst him down, and then Blue. This is just such clean play here. Hits the E onto Spica, uses the Rocket Belt auto to actually kill off Shenyi, then takes the E in. Ulti across multiple members there. Does get hit by the charm. Snaps back, flash over the wall, then E connecting with Takeover and dodging the flash right back in. Takes the E, Q, auto, all lands. Takeover doesn't have the spells or the damage to finish him off. He goes down too.
Wow.
And oh my God, that was so well played by Blue. A massive swing, and in the replay, they got Soul.
Yep.
So they are now on Soul. This went from looking like TSM with the Baron buff was going to be able to push to win potentially, to right back to Dignitas being in this one. You know, they are getting pretty strong here. Now it's 3 items there for FakeGod. Yes, Huni is still a little bit ahead, but Gwen is really relevant at this point. Level 16, has 3 fully completed items. You know, Huni does have the heal cut, which is going to be something in his favor, and is working towards the IU 4th. But Caitlyn is fully online, you know, 3.5, looking like up quite a bit of gold now on Tactical, so Dignitas has got a shot, and you could actually win this. You could potentially chase down Huni.
All right, Huni FakeGod, how's it gonna go? Ulti's gonna land each and every time. Q comes across, misses the last ult though, and Huni's healthy enough to make it happen. Still has flash, ulti's already down, walks away. They can both sustain back up. Jinx Rocket should not quite be lethal anyway. They all get to walk away regardless.
And that was really the mortal reminder difference, right? I think if you have Oblivion Orb there on FakeGod, you can potentially actually take that fight, that plus the 3rd hit of the R. I mean, it is like so much healing that is being done by Huni. He's healing for upwards of 100 per auto, and he's having the auto resets on the E. Plus, you know, does have additional healing from the runes when you look at the fleet footwork coming through as well. So, you know, massive amount of healing that has to be cut, and likely that's going to be what the Amp Tome is for here from FakeGod. With that, there is the potential that he could win in that 1v1, but for now, Huni still standing strong.
I mean, shield bow's cooldown is 90 seconds, right? So yeah, Zhonya's along as well, but that's direct HP in the shield bow. So if you can like try again, right, in you know 73 seconds, you're like, all right, let's go again. Oh well, you have 400 less health than before.
Yep. Yeah, and I think if he has the Oblivion Orb, he doesn't really need the Zhonya's. Like, the Zhonya's was just like, oh, I already lost the fight, and then buying time for his team to come.
Yeah.
You could potentially use the Zhonya's on something like a Q or an ulti or whatever, but generally in a chase down situation where you're actually going to win the fight, you're not going to want to use that Zhonya's too much as the Gwen, because that's just going to buy space for the Graves.
Yeah, it is useful though, yeah, when you have the winning team. Oh, okay, let me, you know, reset for a second.
Time.
Yeah,
Yep.
we get the position to change up. You're not in range of me anymore. You can't just sit there and wait as, you know, someone else wails on you, so... Has that for the team fight value. Huni is going to jump away. Shield back to full, and his shield bow is back from cooldown. Blue does not go into the brush. And that
he definitely doesn't see that, because that confirms it. Because when we were talking about this earlier, but Spica,
yeah, going to be dropped dangerously low. Ult does not go over the wall. The charm could have made it happen. Zap's going to land. They need someone to block this. Oh, no! Oh, a comedy of errors, but at least Spica lives.
That got really dicey there. If he died, that would have really hurt. FakeGod and Huni again scrapping in the side lane. As Conqueror gets stacked up, you always got to be a little bit nervous, but the Shroud is used early, so FakeGod will have to retreat.
18 to 17.
Baron.
Yeah, right now, Huni going to be up in XP. It's a close
Baron's
game.
theirs.
2.3 versus Soul. You have to favor Dignitas on the scoreboard, and no one is on this side of the map, so Dignitas going to close that gold lead, crush it to below half. Baron is picked up. We have an Elder Dragon play in 2.5 minutes, and it's now Dignitas' time to play for the map. But in the meantime, bot lane inhibitor turret is down, and Huni's going to keep trying to push.
Not much ability to do more than that, though, with the Baron recalls coming through here. Huni just trying to be that pressure valve, but it's just not a game I think Graves can really end through sides, right? Like, you're going to have to 5v5. You're going to have to be able to find something there. Spica had a great early start to this game, but his gold income has just completely fallen off as carries are taking his jungle. You know, he's not really able to be tanky enough with just those 2 tank items. He's trying to get towards his Zhonya's. Used the stopwatch a long time ago, but hasn't been able to find enough gold because they're not winning any fights to actually complete it.
You see he kind of pulls the camp towards him. All right, we'll play it as safely as possible. Put the storm down, bring the camp over. All right, no one's here. What's nice is you can use the monster AI to know if someone's around. Like, I'm going to hit this from 1,000 range away. If someone's closer, they're going that way. Oh, towards me? Cool, I know I'm safe. Monsters have map hacks. So more cheating AI. We're like playing Civ or something.
Huni in the side brush here has the people ghosting him, and Dignitas is sending 4 bot though, so blue is going to be pushing in mid. Spica didn't get a chance to base. I think he might have Zhonya's gold now, but it's going to be Takeover trying to answer blue in the mid lane, while Dignitas shoved down here on this bot side. Again, both teams not with, you know, a lot of explosive engage. You know, it's really just River in this game that is kind of that big X factor as far as the engage goes. So as long as you have eyes on Shenyi and Spica, Dignitas should not be caught off guard by a hook. You've just got to pay respect to that Thresh, play behind the minions, and slowly step forward to chip away at this tower.
FakeGod on the way in, tries to get a little bit done. We get some shots on the tower.
Oh my God.
Neo can get a bit done. Okay, hook onto a cannon only though. Hook still attempted. Huni dropped by a third.
That headshot from Neo was about half of Huni's health. He did heal up a little bit after it though, but the threat of that Caitlyn is very real. The rapid fire headshot is going to be a serious amount of damage, and they're trying to slowly zone them out. Nice hook though.
Good hook, thankfully for Neo. He's not onto the chompers. Never ran heal, doesn't have a cleanse, no way out if it was gonna land, but not enough kills anyway. It's a 4v2 in that fight. So bot lane tier 2 falls. Thank you, Mountain Soul makes it even easier. They wait around for the next little bit. Elder
They're on
Dragon
Elder.
15.
Yep, they have full vision control because they've kept them locked in to their base. Now it's TSM's job to try to get out here, but they should have spotted Shenyi. They see him now. Will FakeGod look for a little bit of a wraparound? He's going back towards bot side. Does he fancy taking this fight against Huni? We'll have to see.
He's feel comfortable enough, but can't take the fight just yet from this range. Doesn't have enough CC to lock him into the battle. And nice try on the bind, and now we start this one. 20 seconds on the Baron buff, then it times out. Inventory's gonna be pretty close in value, but Mountain Drake obviously matters here as well. Blue waiting here. Huni very far away, doesn't know what it is. Now he knows the 5v4. In goes the team fight. Blue chunked low, and Blue is down. 1 for 1 though. A Thresh has fallen. And here comes the TP in for Huni. Takeover low. Second kill comes across. Gwen is on the board. FakeGod more than just immune. FakeGod is going to take some heads off. A shutdown comes through for Neo 2-1.
Yeah, they get those kills, and they're going to go right back towards the Elder. They're going to be able to grab this for themselves here. Also, was a great charm onto Blue to blow him up right off the bat. He couldn't get the Zhonya's off. And you think that might give them a chance, but everyone focusing on this Akali meant that Dignitas' backline was pushing forward. FakeGod getting a lot of damage down there. Neo as well as Biofrost as well, and now they have the Elder, they have the Soul, and they are going to be on the push here. As we see this one more time, and Huni's still down towards that bot side. He can't walk through this jungle blind, so he's a little bit late to the play. Has to pay respect to the fact that they could be in this brush, and while he's face checking, it's a 5v4 startup. Huni starts TPing, but the fight is really decided before he even arrives. And yes, Zhonya's on that volley is effective to buy time, but when your team is losing, there's always going to be a trap there waiting for you. And as Huni finally arrives to the fight, River catches him. They have the follow-up. They burst him down. Full build now here for Neo. He's got the GA. They have heal cut actually through Biofrost. Finally, they have some serious heal cut. It's the Chemcheck Putrefier, which is incredibly strong on the Lux because you can apply it to your whole team with that shielding. So FakeGod opting to not go for it. Both junglers, very similar builds. You know, Brandon second, Zhonya's third, Mythic as well. Obviously, a little bit of difference there, but it's just much harder to get value out of the Zhonyas when you're against Caitlyn.
We're going to try again. 2v1 down here. How much can Blue outplay? Has a bit. Ults in. Ease backwards. Needs to turn invulnerable. Where's the Shroud? Where's everything else? Gonna go back to safety, gets a bit more move speed, and jukes the ult, but does he have a way out? Rocket Belts, one hit, flashes the ult. Spica's still on the chase. Will not find the slow.
Oh, he's out.
Where are the reinforcements? He sidesteps the rocket. Does he get the rest, though? Still try to run in with the... Yeah, he's got another Q, though. I think he's gonna find this one. There's the slow, there's the stun, there's the W, and that's gonna be the kill. Blue is down, nearly finds one for it. In the meantime, we've got a bunch of base to play for. Top inhibitor is down.
Yeah, they take that top, and that was very close. He actually almost killed Spica at the end there. If the Shroud came back up, I think Spica is doomed. I'm not sure how close he was to getting that back up. Blue playing really well here in this game for Dig. Just barely not able to survive, but a big pick for them. We can watch this one more time. Blue just trying to buy as much time for his team as he can. Kites down, ults across them, straight into the Zhonyas here, then ulting up. And juking back down here in the Shroud to use the Rocket Belt, use the Flash, then the E to buy the maximum amount of distance he could have here. Nice little sidestep, really quick there from Blue. As the Mountain Soul Shield comes back up, again the E is up, and he does try to get as much healing as possible off here to survive, but didn't have the Shroud, got really close. Spica down to about 10%, not quite able to finish him off, but pretty good stuff there from Blue to try to survive. Unfortunately, for Dig, they really didn't get anything with the Elder. Like, they just got the one inhib, and I don't think that's going to be, you know, enough of an impact to really sway the game at this point. So it feels like you're again fighting for these neutrals here and waiting for that big advantage. You know, if you win a team fight at the Baron with that inhibitor down, maybe you can end the game.
Well, FakeGod not really building for the 1v1 quite as much. Cosmic Drive is in, relying on Lux for healing cut in the team fight, not doing it for himself against Huni. Fair enough. We now look at the top side because Baron is back up. Now, Dignitas have a gold lead plus the soul. They're certainly winning via the scoreboard, and right now, Division Control says the exact same story.
TSM's just going mid. I don't even think they're going to try to contest this yet. I mean, now they're scouting it out. They do see that they're actually on this. It's going down pretty quick to this Caitlyn, but there's an entire trap line. Spica would have to, like, ult past the line, so they're just going to call it gone and accept that that is down. TSM not really able to trade anything for it because they didn't have the pushing waves. And now Dig, they have a wave stacked up in topside. They're just going to shove that straight up, and Blue's trying to stop the recalls.
Rocket Belt doesn't get over walls, nor to the pellets, so he couldn't stop one. Would have been nice to find something to do in the base as they wanted to make a big play.
For a pick.
Oh, they're in fog. The Minis don't see that.
Tactical's walking out.
Oh my gosh, is Shenyi gonna just die? That was a beautiful trap sitting on the exact right side. Nothing they could have done about it. Beautifully done by Dignitas. And now they're gonna go in for a little bit more. I mean, yeah, River's gonna get over the wall, no problem. And here we go, with the wave, they can get a lot done. Baron is on.
Yeah, and Blue's coming down mid, so they're going to have the main advantage. They're looking for the end here. Neo is hitting the tower. They're TPing in.
TP double in. It's going to be 5v4 for the base. They're going to knock down one turret, finally down. But a little bit of damage coming out of the Jinx. Watch out for it, because River is down to about 1,200. Will they find the rest? Honestly, Tactical not easily diveable, so shots towards FakeGod. And yeah, I mean, it's a 4 out of 8 carry almost. Like, it's good damage.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of damage here, but they have to be so careful. One binding would end the game. Takeover's getting pushed out, and Tactical's on the retreat.
Will regen enough in the fountain to be okay, but here comes the dive. Takeover nearly dead. River attacked as well, but there's 2 for nothing so far. Looking for a third. The turrets are going to fall. Those can't run away. The dunk for River. He's got to be careful, though. Will be shot, will be put down, and the Nexus will fall. Dignitas putting TSM right back down in the dirt. Playoff still within grasp for Dignitas.
Great comeback from Dig. They were pretty far down at one point in this game. It felt like the game completely swung off of that TP flank from Blue down in bot side. TSM was a good 4 or 5K ahead at that point with the Baron buff, feeling like they were in control. But Dignitas with a big play. They find the engage. Biofrost lands the binding on a Tactical. And then Blue coming in on the TP flank, cleaning them up, buying them a lot of time in this game. And Neo with some very, very impressive team fighting. And River, as always, looking so strong on the Jarvan.
Yeah.
He didn't have a big impact in the early game, but he was very impactful in the team fights, very impactful in that late game. That little trap that they actually laid off of the Baron take, going right over to that base gate, laying that trap, finding Shenyi. That was so clever and such an intelligent use of enemy vision and vision denial. And that's one of the things that people highlight a lot with River, is how smart he is at actually intuiting where wards are going to be, where they're going to know, you know, where you are on the map. And they just had no idea who was going to be there. Shenyi face checks it. He goes down. They have the 5v4 push, and they eventually are able to close it out.
Well, beautifully done. Obviously, yeah, the clutch plays are what really matters. The one you point out, you know, at the tail end of Baron, where they get that fight going like that, that really was a huge, huge move for Dignitas. And you know, well done to Bio for finding, you know, another good set of plays, right? The Caitlyn Lux was winning lane, even with the ganks coming through and
yeah,
the Flash Force and the First Blood and then all that happening. Well, they still got all 5 plates down there, and they went top, and they still got more done over there as well. So, I mean, that duo looked really, really good. Yeah, nothing but nice things to say. Of course, this severely hurts TSM's chance of making playoffs. Dignitas, meanwhile, alone in 5th, 6-6. So far, so good for them. Now, with that, with Dignitas QNTMPAY, we are joining Blue over on stage for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you, Phreak. Our last Verizon post-game interview of the day. I've got Blue by my side. This was a game where TSM did have the gold lead early on. Tell me about your play today, because there was one crucial moment that felt like it flipped the switch for Dignitas.
They did a good job to shut down our Caitlyn bot lane. We have a Caitlyn Lux bot lane, which is really aggressive, and they know that we want to play for bot because we have a Caitlyn Lux, like I said. They did a really good job to shut down in our early game. And then in team fight, we just had to look for flank and fight better, and we fight it better, so we just won in team fights.
Yeah, you fought very well in those team fights, that's for sure. And this was a lane that we haven't got to see as often because Takeover is fairly new to the LCS. Can you tell me a bit about your experience going against him?
I mean, I'm just playing Akali. Like, Akali can't win early game, so I just have to farm till level 6, 8, and then look to play aggressive and fight some fight with ulti, some pickups and stuff. And I just have to look for a flank, you know. When I'm playing Akali, it's flank. Whoever flanks better, fight better is winning, I guess. That's what I would say. He did a good job.
Yeah, fair enough. Good job all around. And I know, Dignitas, you have a bit of that pressure right now. You're facing Immortals tomorrow, similar in the standings, which becomes that much more crucial when you're approaching playoffs. So how do you feel not just about them as an opponent, but the stakes that go with each of these coming games?
I think they're actually playing really good now. Like, they're not playing that good like Team Liquid or other stuff, but I think they're doing good. And from when they started the split, it was, I think they were 0-3 or 0-2, something like that. So they did a really good job to come back and play good as a team now. So I'm really excited to play against also Aero because they changed their bot lane. Now it's like a new, different team, I would say. And yeah, I hope we fight better. Whoever's fight better wins the game.
Do you typically like to play against changing rosters like that as opposed to consistency?
Yeah, so it's like playing against a new team, I would say. Like, it's always different to play against when people change players. Like, for example, TSM change players. It's always nice to face new playstyle or new different type of player. I like it personally.
Fresh experience, why not, right?
Yeah.
All right, Blue, it was really fun watching you and the rest of the squad today. Congrats on the W.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's it for our Saturday of LCS games. Let's go ahead and break it all on down on the Bud Light Breakdown.
Thank you so much, LeTigress, and welcome to the Bud Light Breakdown. A 6-6 Dignitas following that victory over TSM, but in so many ways, a heartbreaker as well on that other side because it felt so winnable. Arguably was in a winning position there for TSM, of course, at the midway point of the game.
Yeah, they had Baron. They had 4 people in one lane, 1 in the other. Well, more like Spica in between. Tactical gets hit by Binding because he's greeting a turret, and they just lose.
Well, and I think Blue already brought up, right, that one thing TSM did well in this game was to recognize exactly where they were going to go. They, you know, when Dignitas locks in this competition, we've seen them play it. This is definitely the thing they play the best with Jarvan and Caitlyn Lux. You know exactly what they want to do. River does go for an early gank, does not get much done, and then Spica actually ends up turning the tide in that lane a bit. So I thought that was good from TSM to recognize where they needed to go and then try to snowball it from there. The fact that they gave up so many dragons was also kind of an issue.
Definitely.
In spite of that.
Well, again, we talk about how TSM had control of that game, and while they did, Dignitas had to find a way to strike back. And we'll take a look at that winning moment in just a second. Until then, there is nothing better than enjoying a meal and watching the LCS. That's a factual statement, by the way. Inarguable at that. Bring home your own Grubhub dub with the Grubhub guarantee. Get your food delivered on time and at the lowest prices. Guaranteed, or they will make it right. Download the app today and use offer code 5OFFLCS for $5 off, $15 or more orders all weekend long. Grab yourself a little dinner, and while you're doing that, take a look at this little play from Dignitas. It's set up by Biofrost. It's brought home by Blue.
Yes, this is the play that Jat was talking about. Point. Just a little bit too far forward, no support from the rest of his team. The Binding lands. He doesn't die immediately, but it kites out the rest of TSM and puts him in full panic mode. He gets eliminated before Blue even shows up in the play. You also have Shenyi half health, basically burning down and dying, and then that's when Blue shows up and absolutely pops off and finds the rest of these kills. The fight was already going great for Dignitas, but he made this a slam dunk ace that took all the Barons off of TSM and totally killed their momentum.
Oh, taking the E over the wall for the finish kill. That was sweet. Gives him a big bounty. Also secures the Mountain Soul for the team. Then they carried it home.
GG. Yeah. Great to see out of a player that maybe has gone under-talked about. Again, we'll drop his name every now and again, but it feels like so often when people look at Dignitas right now, the focus is on River first and foremost. There's been some discussion around Biofrost to follow, and for Blue to be, you know, making statements like that here in the LCS, where admittedly, the mid lane feels fairly open still in terms of a discussion around individual power rankings. I know we had a bit of a discussion about that midweek, Mark, on Hotline League, but it's been kind of interesting to track how in the past, mid has felt like maybe the most competitive role in a number of seasons. Here, there's a lot to be decided, I think, in terms of top 5, bottom 5, top 3, bottom 3, all that kind of stuff.
It also is weird because what are the mid laners for the best 2 teams in the league are not playing mid lane centric games. It's like Summit and you know Bwipo are the focal points, and Bjergsen and Fudge are more of a backseat and kind of the glue people for those teams. And so it's weird to have a meta like that because almost always you associate the best mid laner probably being on the best team or in that top 3 conversation.
Now, that said, I'm actually kind of curious as we pull up the player of the games for today's games. It'll be 5 of them across the board. What it would look like if we dug into the positional rankings of Pogs. Is mid lane going to be? This is a question I'm asking without knowing the answer. I would be curious if mid lane is the least awarded player of the game role at this point in the split.
I wonder.
Just a thought.
I bet it is, and I bet it's one, we talk about the mid lane pool not being super competitive skill-wise potentially, as well as, like I just said, the actual meta-wise, it's not super greedy of a lane. We're getting a little bit more with like the Silases and the Akalis and Ahris we're starting to see more so, but for a while it has not been the case.
This is like a silly topic because we can easily just look it up. I think it's supports.
Yeah.
I think supports.
You think supports have the
I think
least?
they'd be least awarded. Biofrost should be the outlier here because usually, I think we've been in this Jinx Aphelios meta for so long.
Yeah.
If a bot lane wins, Jinx or Aphelios gets popped.
That's a good point.
And Lulu gets no credit.
Exactly.
Never.
Leona gets no credit.
Exactly.
Leona's could get credit. That's at least a champ where you could find a way to getting credit, but you're not
But I don't
so much
think
on
we've had a
Karma
Leona player
or
of the
Lulu
game
or
in
anything
Split.
like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of stalling, hoping that somebody finds the stat
Well,
and
I'm
feeds it to
looking
me.
at
Some it
because
makes
that-
sense to be up there at the top.
Very
Yeah,
much so.
that catapulted Biofrost up from where he was tied with like a ton of people at 2 into 3. So he kind of cracks top 5, but he's also tied
Quickly,
with like,
Emily,
a bunch of
add-
other people.
Yeah,
Add all of them up.
I know.
Quick maths.
I'm looking. I think it might be. So Palafox has 2.
Okay, I'm gonna let
Don't count on it.
Yeah, don't do it all out loud on
like
here. But I'm gonna let you
25
do that
player
silently while we do something I know that Mark does not want us to do, which is take a look at the analyst predictions for the day. Pull up that full screen. Let's see how all 3 of you did. Now, Mark, you were pinch hitting here for Raz, so I'm almost tempted to say we just we apply, you know, like that TSM bogus call to his record.
I agree with that. He actually also joined Emily. I saw him tweeting about this. He also predicted Golden Guardians in first game of the day. So we each dropped.
Wait, did I
almost
win
right.
predictions today?
Probably.
That can't be
no?
Yeah, by
Yeah,
predicting
pull the graphic down. There's no way that's
by
correct.
predicting the higher seeded team to beat the lower seeded team. Wow, how'd you pull that one off?
In every matchup.
That's how you predict games.
I was so close to being right about that one. They just threw an inhibitor turret.
You should have been right about that one, man. That was brutal.
I mean, I was so close to being right about Golden Guardians. And
You were
then
also to be.
You
We
also
stopped-
should have been right
we
there.
You know what's
stopped
better than being
sidelining and
close to
decided
being right?
5v5.
Being absolutely right.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm with you
know
on
what's
that
really
one.
funny though is whenever I predict like you, because I'm a very boring predictor.
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
like anyone will ask me for predictions, I'm like, you shouldn't follow me for predictions because I will always almost predict like the
Just the
higher
standard
seeded team.
favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever I do that though, there's always an upset.
Yeah.
I felt like there was going to be one upset today, which is why I was trying to pick between the two. And I think you were right. They were
I should
11K
have been
gold
right.
up. Golden Guardians.
You
won
were
that
both.
game.
You were both almost right. Which would make you guys a phenomenal bocce ball team. You know, you'd be great at horseshoes.
also, you know what
even
it
hand
does?
grenades, you'd be pretty
The
solid
purpose-
at.
the
But
purpose-
at league predictions,
The
not
purpose
so
of
high.
predictions is to have interesting and invigorating discussion, and therefore
That's what
I
we're
have
getting.
delivered.
Okay, we got meta.
Yeah, Jat was boring.
We just got
Yeah,
meta. Yeah.
4 support player of the games, 3 to bio, 1 to core. No other supports have won it.
What about mids?
I mean, that seems to be. We would need another segment.
But
of me looking
only,
at my
but
laptop to
only
count that
4 supports does make me think. I think it'd be close. It'd be close.
2 for Tukui.
Oh, Tukui's
Mids are
gonna ruin
already-
it for us.
Mids are already above.
Oh,
Even
the
just
big
for-
environment.
Yeah.
He's too good.
I don't believe you.
He's too good.
I haven't seen
1
the
for
stats myself. I
Takeover.
actually don't believe it.
One
All right.
for
I feel like he's
PoE.
just lying.
Let's take a look at the standings. They're already
for
up on the
JoJo.
screen behind me, but we may as well run through some of them. You got Cloud9 and Team Liquid still neck and neck at the top, which makes me so excited for our schedule, which we'll get to in just a moment. You got 100 Thieves and FlyQuest now sitting pretty in 3rd place before Dignitas. It has sole possession of 5th. We close that out with EG, Golden Guardians, CLG, Immortals Progressive, and TSM.
I'm pretty sure this is just because of alphabetical order, but this is I feel like this is the first time I haven't seen CLG and TSM both down in like 9-10 spot with.
Well, they flipped it there for you.
dropping down.
Over
Oh,
here, they're next to each other.
flipped it there.
They fixed
Yeah.
it for you.
Always right.
I mean, I guess the question right now relies on the head-to-head between Immortals and CLG, right? In that case.
Yeah.
But let's take a look at our schedule. As I just mentioned, it's Team Liquid and Cloud9 facing off tomorrow in our very first matchup of the day. It's a big one to break that tie for 1st place. We'll follow that up with 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest.
Another tiebreaker.
Because why not break the tie for third? Exactly. TSM versus EG to follow. Immortals Progressive versus Dignitas QNTMPAY after that. And we'll close things out with CLG versus Golden Guardian.
It's a pretty close day of games. The two tiebreakers at the beginning. Even CLG and Golden Guardians only single game apart now.
Yeah.
Even Dignitas versus Immortals. 2 games, not that big of a deal though, with how close Dignitas games have looked recently. I think that's going to be another competitive one.
Yeah, the only one that you would expect, again, expect in quotation marks to be lopsided would be that third game of the day.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. I'm sorry, can you repeat that for me?
15% of pogs.
15% of pogs are mid laners.
Can production make a quick pie chart?
Yeah.
Oh, they just told me it was 9 mid laners though. So if it was 4 support pogs and 9 mid lane pogs.
They said they couldn't make a pie
you were
chart.
right.
Just want
No
to
pie charts?
confirm that TLC9 moved to the first game of the day? Because all week it's been,
Yes.
like online, it was the second game of the day. So
It
anyone
was
watching,
flexed.
it's been flexed to
We-
prime spot.
We flexed week 6
Yeah.
a while ago.
Got it.
All right, way to keep up on those.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I just wanted the viewers to be right.
That's good. You know what?
Yeah.
Good guy, Jap, out here.
I will admit.
Because he understands what it means to be absolutely
Well, so-
correct, where the two of you, close to correct. And so.
I will defend him in the story meeting this week since I was working that, I was supposed to be on Sunday. I looked it up because I was
Yeah.
like, wait, I'm confused because the internet was wrong.
Will you be here tomorrow?
Sure.
I will be here tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
Barring anything else going
Whoa,
wrong.
whoa.
I think
I
barring
think-
like a COVID test or something. he's good.
Or like
Lord.
eating too spicy of food.
All right.
Yeah.
We
More-
lose
too
an
much ice
hour
cream.
of sleep tonight for those of us who are at least in this hemisphere. I don't know how it works everywhere around the world. So just make sure you are
guys still
aware
base
of
your
that.
clocks on
we
farmers?
lose an hour, and then we start an hour earlier still. So just know that. But that's going to be it for us on this Saturday day of games. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night. Where's your Poro?
I don't have anything.
What? You need some spice on your ice? No. Okay. You know what? I'm abandoning this. This ship can sink. Goodbye. I will see you at the bottom of the river.
final ban.
Yup, we're going in.
Chili oil.
No, we're banning this. Okay. Guardian Angel's popping left, right, and center. Pride Stalker comes back to life. FBI is looking to get himself away to safety, and they're going to be able to take down Lost and Ablaze together.
Luger, though, gets all in by Johnson, and he tells him to sit down.
Oh, and he goes right
Sit
back in to
down!
hand him the C. Luger is getting it done with the Kaisa here in game number 2 today.
The Doug duo has dug our way in, and we are ready to cast the Lex 3 games. This man smiles at me every time. It's how you know the cast synergy is on point. Yep.
와, inspire Viego Pentakill.
This matchup.
I got more pentakills than you.
Yeah, but you play
you
Viego.
are a world champion.
This will indeed be the ace. All 5 will die. Will they get anything back, though? When Megan are into the wall, the shield is big. They will not find those kills. 5 for nothing. Team Lick with the Bud Light ace.
Kill for dive.
I'm chilling.
Nice.
We need help.
I'm okay. I think go fight now.
Go fight. Let's go.
Swish.
Kill Thresh. Nice. Go Baron. Come Baron.
Shenyi getting low. Blue finds his second, goes in, and finally the mid lane is going to show up, but will it be enough? The snipe comes in and lands a bit more. Blue stealths, flash the way, flash follow, jukes out, goes back in, and Blue is gonna conquer. 5 dead, no casualties. Dignitas back in the game.